Lisbeth at Nordic Dog Trainer prepared a very short PowerPoint for today. It's actually my own notes so that I will remember what to talk about. I very often am getting questions from dog owners if their dog's behavior is normal. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I just want to discuss with you and myself. I love discussing with myself if the behavior they're doing is normal or not. Okay, let me share my PowerPoint first of all. Okay, so what is normal behavior in dogs? The funny thing is that dogs are individuals. This is something very, very important to remember. And for some reason, I don't know why it's like that, but humans, we think that we automatically know how especially dogs behave, what is normal and not normal, even though we never read a book about it. We just have we think that we know what is right and wrong. I've been doing some thinking, and it's probably many reasons, but one of them probably is that we are so used to having dogs in our life, like in our environment, even though if you don't own a dog, you've seen a lot of dogs, you heard a lot of dogs, and you probably petted, touched dogs and so on. So it's a very familiar animal for most humans, as they're one of our, most normal pets. And also remember that most dogs in this world is not pets. They are dogs with no owners, street dogs or feral dogs. So there was a study a few years ago which showed that people who never even owned a dog could actually tell from what the kind of barking that they heard when they would play the recording of different kind of barking from dogs. They could tell if the dog was positively stressed, like happy, or if it was frustrated, or if it was angry, which is kind of interesting because it just says that we're very, very familiar with the species of dogs, but we're not as familiar as we should be, I think, because we still question what is normal behavior. And in order to know what is normal behavior, you have to read, or you have to get some knowledge. What is normal behavior when they're not living with us? So what is this species' normal behavior? How do they eat? What do they eat? Do they drink water? Do they, all of these kind of things we should know. And I don't know many dog owners who actually read, literature about what a dog's normal behavior is. What is their, language, and how do they, what is their normal diet and so on? What is their kind of diet? Because people would not ask the questions then if they knew. And I put up a few, just a few examples of very normal behavior. Barking and any kind of sounds from a dog is a normal behavior. Okay, it's normal for a dog to bark. It's even normal for a dog to do excessive barking, to bark a lot. But the reason why a dog is barking a lot could be that it's something in the environment which is not right for the dog. I'm going to talk about that later. So barking is absolutely normal. Growling and showing teeth is normal. Please keep that in mind. Do not punish your dog for growling. It's a normal behavior. A lot of people are concerned, and they call me and they say, you know, my dog was suddenly growling. I've never seen my dog growl before. And it was showing teeth. And yes, it's a very normal behavior. The reason why it's growling, we need to find out why it's growling. Do not punish your dog if it's growling. There's a reason for it. Growling, it's a good thing that they can growl because it's something that we can hear. We humans are not that good at observing them and seeing their subtle signs, the body language they use, but we can hear very well, quite well. Not very well compared to dogs, but we can hear. And growling is one of the things that we're very scared of because we think then I have a dog that's suddenly aggressive. And growling is a kind of aggressive signal, yes, or distance increasing signals, but it means that the dog is not happy about something or it feels threatened by something when it's growling. So if we take away that threat, it will stop growling. For example, if your dog is eating and your dog is scared that someone will take the food and you walk past when your dog is eating and your dog is growling, it will stop growling if you move away. So instead of punishing your dog, which is a very, very bad idea to do, because in the worst case, then you will just, how do you call it? Excel the situation. It gets worse. You know, if you punish the dog for it, it might even try to defend themselves. And what do they do to defend themselves? They can bite. So whenever there is growling, see what's going on. Why is the dog growling? Is it a bone? And they have a discussion with another dog friend. This is my bone, you know, or is it a person that is doing something to the dog that makes the dog feel insecure and feels it has to protect itself or something in the environment. Jumping is a normal behavior. And very often it's a taught behavior, meaning that we have encouraged the dog to continue jumping, either by the way we are, not either, but most likely because of the way we are acting, what we're saying or what we're doing. For example, if you're holding the leash and your dog is jumping and want to reach your hand, maybe you even have a treat in your hand, and you're holding the leash with the treat in your hand, and your dog start jumping to get the treat, you will automatically do this, lift your hand because you want to avoid the dog biting your hand. Then you are teaching your dog to jump. So jumping is also a normal behavior. Keep in mind, I'm not saying that even though it's a normal behavior, that we should let the dogs do this. We cannot let dogs jump on people we don't know. You can decide if you want to allow your dog to jump on you. I don't care, but you can't allow your dog to jump on people when you're just walking your dog. So you have to teach them not to jump, but the behavior is normal. It's nothing wrong with your dog for doing it. On the contrary, it's very normal. They want to get into our face, to smell, you know, from our mouth, ears, neck. That's how they smell each other when they greet each other. The smell that's from the mouth, from behind the ears very often, and the neck here. So to reach that, because we are taller than the dog, dogs will jump. So the behavior is normal. If you should allow it, that's a whole other question. Eating what they find is normal. Dogs are scavengers. So putting whatever they find interesting in their mouth when they're out walking or inside in your house and something on the floor, that is normal. Stealing food is normal. They're opportunists. So whenever there's food around, you know, they make sure to get it because they don't know instinctively, they don't know when the next meal is going to be. So if you leave your food on the counter and you walk away, it's your responsibility to train your dog to not steal the food, or even better, put the food out of reach so you don't have the problem. Put the food out of reach. Don't be unfair to your dog and expect him to not eat whatever is around, because that's what they do. And you have to train them not to do it. It's normal for dogs not to like being alone. Dogs are social animals, and for them, it's not normal to be alone. For a puppy, it's not normal. So that's why we have to train them to be alone and to feel safe when they're alone. So it's nothing wrong with your dog if it's whining when it's alone in the house or in a room. If you take a puppy and you go into another room, you close the door and the puppy is whining, it is normal. It's not abnormal behavior. Not listening to your cues or commands is normal. There could be many reasons why they don't. Most likely it's because, I hate to say this, but it's because we haven't taught them well enough. You know, when you are training recall for your dog, if your dog is coming to you in your own garden, that's expected. That's not very difficult for a dog to do. It's more difficult if it's in a place where a lot of new things going on, there's a lot of exciting smells, and maybe other people and dogs. If you haven't trained your dogs properly for recall, it's normal that your dog is not coming then. It's not abnormal behavior. But what you need to do is you need to do more training of recall. Not wanting to walk or to stop during the walks is normal behavior. This is a question I get quite often. I think it's something wrong with my dog because it stops walking, or it doesn't want to walk any further, or it doesn't want to go for a walk when it's raining. It's normal. It's normal not to want to go out when it's raining. If it's cold or if it's, it just doesn't feel right, it's normal for the dog to think, oh, I'd rather wait till it stops raining. To stop during a walk there could be a lot of reasons why. My first thought is always, does the dog have any pain? Have you already walked too far for the dog? Is it stopping, sitting down or laying down because it doesn't want to walk because it feels painful somewhere in the body? Or very often it's because of something we do. So a typical situation is a family where two people walk the dog. With one person, it's walking fine, no problems. The other person, it doesn't want to walk, or it stops walking, or it's behaving differently on the walk. It's because of the person's behavior. Very often, it's because that person is making the walks not very pleasant by just, pulling the lead or commanding the dog to do certain things all the time, or just making it a stressful walk for the dog. So if your dog stops during the walk, you need to find out why. But the behavior of stopping during a walk is a normal behavior. They're not stupid, these animals. And on the contrary, they're quite clever. So if they feel pain or something is uncomfortable in the environment, they would stop doing whatever they're doing. Jumping onto your sofa or to your bed is a normal behavior. If you don't want your dog to be in your bed or your sofa, you need to teach him not to be there. But it's a normal behavior. It's normal for dogs to want to sleep close to us. They're social animals. So sleeping close to the family makes them feel safe. They also like to feel warm and to sleep in different places. Amongst them is soft places. So if you sit in your sofa in the evening and your dog wants to sleep next to you, that is a normal behavior. If you don't want your dog in the sofa, you need to teach him not to be there. but it's nothing wrong with your dog for doing it. Sniffing everywhere, also in the embarrassing places, is normal. You know how dogs sniff each other in the back and rear and so on. It's also normal. The question is, do you want your dog to smell, your visitors in the crouch? Maybe not. So you have to train your dog not to do that. But it's not abnormal behavior, it's normal. Chasing and running after something is very normal behavior. They have the instinct, the hunting instinct. In fact, that instinct is making them automatically move after something that is already moving. Especially puppies and young dogs have that instinct very strong. And of course, if you have a hunting breed, that is even stronger. So if you have a dog that is chasing a lot because it has a strong drive for it because of the breed or the individual and all of that, you need to take the consequences. You need to train more recall. You might need to have your dog on a very long leash, and you might have to go other places to walk with your dog, where there are less things to chase. Don't let your dog chase other animals. That's not nice for the other animals. And of course not humans or other dogs either. So you have to manage this. You have to find places to walk that is better for everyone. And you might even have to have your dog on a long leash. And you should train more recall, a better recall, so you can stop your dog from chasing, prevent your dog from chasing. Protecting their food or their bone or their puppies, it makes sense, doesn't it? This is normal behavior. Some time ago, we were all taught very often that we needed to be the boss. We needed a strong leadership because for some reason, humans thought that dogs were coming into a house to take over the household completely. So we just need to show them that we were the boss. Luckily, we now know better. It has nothing to do with being a boss or a strong leader or anything. It's about instincts protecting their food. They don't know, by instinct, they don't know when the next meal is going to be. And like all species, we prefer to eat the food ourselves, not having anyone put their hands into it or stealing it while we're eating it. So it's normal behavior. So if your dog is, in fact, growling when it's eating his food and you are nearby, I would strongly recommend that you put the food bowl in a different room, in an area in the house, outside or inside, where the dog can eat peacefully without being disturbed and feeling the need for protecting the food. That's very stressful if you have to eat very quickly because you're scared that other people would take your food. So the most important thing, or I always say the most important thing, there's so many most important things, but it's very important to learn about what a dog is and their instincts. What is normal behavior? Did you know that dogs that don't live with humans, like in our houses as pets, street dogs, the puppies would stay with their mother as long as up to 14 months. Some, very few, but some are leaving after 6-7 months, but that's not very often. Most of them are staying with their mother and their siblings until they're over a year old. When we know that, we also know that taking away a dog from its family when it's 8 weeks old is kind of crazy, isn't it? So we need to then take the consequences and help the dogs as best as possible when they don't have their immediate family around them, when we take them from their family when they're so young. Well, I didn't learn that in a puppy class when I got my first dog when I was 16, 15 years old. I'd never heard about that. So this is important information, and the information is something you need to make sure it's your responsibility to get, actually, I think, to learn about the species, the animals that you share your house with. And one very important thing is that dogs are individuals. So even though the differences between breeds, with some breeds we are bred with stronger instincts of guarding or hunting, and so on, there are still more differences individually. So if you had one breed, breed 5 or 6 times, like 5 German Shepherds, the 6th German Shepherd could be a very, very different individual. And that's normal too. Dogs have feelings. I can't believe I have to say this, but I know most of you watching this know this, and you agree with me, but surprisingly, a lot of courses and activities for dog owners, the people doing those courses, I'm trying to be very neutral now, but there's a lot of misunderstandings out there and old-fashioned knowledge. We know now that dogs can feel happiness, they can feel being sad, certainly they feel pain. You know, I met dog owners in 2021 that still don't know, or they don't believe that dogs feel pain the same way as they do. They feel less pain. They don't feel pain as much as we think they do. That's what they believe still today. So we need to get the knowledge out there. Dogs can be frustrated. Dogs can miss other dogs or people. And very importantly, they can like and dislike someone. This is one of the most frequently asked questions I get. I think my dog is not normal because it doesn't like everyone. Dog owners have an expectation that when their dog meets other dogs, they should immediately become best friends. And same thing with humans. But it's not true, because they are individuals, and some they like, some they dislike, some they love, some they really don't like at all. That is normal. You can't expect them to be best friends with everyone. So also, and this is important, because normal behavior, it's also normal to have abnormal behavior. So if your dog is doing more barking, peeing, use more body language and so on, if your dog is chasing its tail or the shadow, or trying to eat the air, you know, all of these behaviors is normal behaviors, but it's a sign that something is not right, especially when these behaviors are quite sudden, or not especially quite sudden, but let me rephrase that. They're all a sign that something isn't right. The behavior of chasing a tail, repetitive behavior, is a normal behavior because of what the dog is experiencing. High level of stress or pain or whatever it is. There is a reason for it. So it's still a normal behavior according to what is going on in the dog's environment. But of course, it's a sign that something is not right. Okay, so this is where you need to contact a dog trainer or a dog behaviorist, someone that has some more knowledge about dogs than just, you know, what is normal dog behavior. And if you go to a trainer to get a problem fixed and they don't talk about normal behavior or don't show any signs that they are aware what is normal behavior, then I wouldn't trust that person to help me with changing my dog's behavior if it has a problem behavior. Because you need, in order to know that something is wrong, you need to know what is not right, you know? And that is the behavior. So any changes in the behavior and routines for the dog is important to notice, because then you as a dog owner can help your dog before the signs are too strong, you know, before the dog has too much pain or is too stressed, or yeah, whatever it is that is bothering your dog. That is why problem behavior is a problem for the dog owner, obviously, but it's also a dog that needs help. So that's why getting to know your dog and your individual dog's normal behavior patterns is a good idea. We have done this for our level 1, the online course, level 1 for the dog trainer school. They have homework where they're supposed to write down observations of their own dogs. How many times it's peeing when you're going for a walk, depending on, you know, if it's a familiar environment or a new environment. Same thing with barking. Is your dog barking a lot? When is it barking? How long is it barking for? Same thing with, you can do it with jumping. You can do it with all kind of behaviors that is that your dog is doing. Sitting, for example. Because it's only when you know what your individual dog's normally behaving like that you can see if something is not right, that is something out of the normal way of behaving for that dog. That's how I found out twice, on two different dogs that I had, that it had a problem with, and now I can't remember the word in English, of course. Probably when I can see the chat again, the comments, you can help me. Thyroid problem. Because there are a lot of signs for a thyroid problem. So you need to see a lot of different behavior or lack of behavior or change in behavior. And this then adds up to the possibility of the dog having a thyroid problem. Because I love observing my dogs. So that's why I'm pretty good at knowing what my dog's normal behavior is, so that I can see if something is not normal, if something is bothering them in one way or the other. So the very, very important thing is to get to know your dog, to know your individual dog, so that you're able to know what is normal, to see what is not normal for your dog. And now when I think about it, I think I missed a couple of there was I don't know if this page, the 2 slides on this PowerPoint that was lost, because I also want to add that it's normal for puppies and teenage dogs and even adult dogs to not listening to your cues and demands. That is normal behavior if you have not taught your dog those cues or commands properly. It's normal for teenage dogs to seem like they have forgotten everything, because they have a lot of hormones in their body. There's a lot of changes going on in that age, and they're not capable of learning a lot of new things. It's normal for a dog that is stressed in a situation. For example, if you go to a dog, some kind of activity, a puppy class or something, and it's too much happening, it's normal for your dog not to listen to your cues because it's too busy trying to figure out what's going on in the environment. Maybe it's too many smells, too much noise, you know, something is disturbing him. It's normal behavior. It's even normal for puppies to pee inside if you haven't house trained them. It's even normal that they pee inside until they're 1 year old. I hate to say this, but it's still normal to not be house trained 100% when you're 11, 12 months. Yes, okay, your dog is a bit late being house trained. Could be because of you haven't done the job properly, or it's the individual who's a bit later than the others. We are putting too high expectations to our dogs compared to what we do ourselves to train them and to help them understand how they're supposed to behave or act in our environments and lives. It's even normal for senior dogs to not hear very well or see very well, just like humans. When we get older, we get reduced hearing and seeing, and we forget things. And even peeing inside again can be normal for a senior dog because they forgot to tell you they have to go to the toilet. So for a senior dog, I'm not sure if I would advise you to try to help them learn anything, especially because dogs also do get dementia. So having a senior dog is just one of your responsibilities. It's, in my experience, it's been just like having a puppy again. I have to get up quite a few times during a night because they have to go out and pee, for example. So this is normal behavior. But if your dog is doing excessive behavior, more barking, more jumping, seem more stressed, more growling, or less calming signals, so changing the behavior, that is also normal, but you need to find out why it's changing behavior, because it's something that is not right for your dog. And that's how we help them. Okay. Finish with my PowerPoint, even though I don't know where those 2 slides just disappeared, but okay. So to sum up, please acquire knowledge so that you know what a normal behavior, what is, how dogs behave, what they eat, what is their diet. You know, I hate to say it, but for dogs, it's normal to eat feces from other animals and for humans. Do we want them to do that? Probably not. So we have to do some training, and we have to avoid places that there's a lot of feces. But there was a study showing that they very much they like very well human feces, and that's of course not something we would like them to eat, but still you have to know it's normal behavior. So that's why it's very stupid to walk places where it can be things you don't want your dog to eat when you know that this is normal for a dog to eat. Okay, so finding out what they normally live like, if they weren't living with us, what do they eat? How do they eat? Like they scavenge, they go around eating whatever they find. How much do they play? Normally, when do they leave their mother? When do they? How much do they walk, move? How much do they bark? There's a lot of research on this, a lot of studies been done the last years. You can find many of them on Google Scholar, which is a search engine for scientific studies, Google Scholar. And you can go to different courses and read books about it. So Lydia is thanking me for the lecture. Thank you. Pat is in the US and Caroline is here. And Carmen as well. Yes, I think it's very important. So basically, all the behaviors that your dog is doing is normal. If your dog is not, if your dog is in pain, or if it's stressed or has some problems, it will also change the behavior or have a certain behavior. And the behavior is normal to whatever is wrong with the dog, So that's why it's very important to know what your dog normally do and so that you can easier see if it's something wrong and you can help your dog. Okay. I'm going to stop now because I'm just making it worse for myself. I'm trying to sum up and do it very, very clear, but I can, my brain is now too foggy to get it any more clear. So thank you for listening. Okay, have a very nice week. Bye.